The Easter Challenge. In the last chapter or so of each of the four canonical Gospels, we read an account of the resurrection of Jesus. A good case has been made for the historicity of these accounts. That is, while there may be some debate with respect to the secondary details when we move from one Gospel to another, the honest historian is not justified in denying at least the fact that Jesus did rise from the dead. The historicity of the resurrection, however, is not what I want to look at here. Everything recorded at the end of our four Gospels could be historically unfactual, in theory, and that would not impinge upon what I have to say in the following videos. All I am trying to do is show how the four Gospel accounts, the Matthean, the Markan, the Lucan, and the Johannine, are not necessarily inconsistent with each other. That is, that they can all be consistent with each other. The harmonization I'll be offering does not even have to be plausible. It only has to be possible. Dan Barker has made this challenge, the Easter challenge, and these are his rules. In case you are unaware, Dan Barker is one of many professing ex-Christians who now speak out against the faith once delivered to the saints. I'd classify him as a new atheist. You may have seen him in debates. He has many debates that have subsequently been posted to YouTube. If you have seen a picture of him, it is probably the one where he is seated at a piano, presumably in a church, and turned around looking at the photographer. That's a very famous picture of Dan Barker, the most famous. The idea behind the Easter challenge is that there is no possible way to reconcile the various Easter accounts in the Bible. Further, that if we actually take all four accounts together at once, as opposed to reading one, then reading the other, and so on, but if we take them all at the same time, that provides us with evidence against Christianity, because we notice the conflicts, allegedly, when we read them together. And if the Bible contradicts itself, then it's not inerrant, which is the central tenet of Christianity. And this is part of a cumulative case for atheism or against religion, at least against the Christian religion. My approach in meeting this challenge shall be to list the bullet points of the various pericopes, then focus in on any potential conflicts by trying to offer a possible, though not necessarily plausible, harmonization. I shan't read the actual passages from the Gospels, but you are free to do that on your own if you are so inclined. I will honestly try to not leave out anything important. And what I'll be looking at, and what I'll mean by Easter or the resurrection, is everything from the death of Jesus on in the particular Gospel. In the Markan account, let me back up to elaborate on that last point. So while the Great Commission is not really part of the resurrection per se, or part of Easter per se, I will include that for the sake of completeness, I guess, in this challenge. And I won't include things like the trial of Jesus or the crucifixion per se, although part of the crucifixion was the death, so I'll include that part of it, when Jesus died from crucifixion, according to the Gospels. Now, in the Markan pericope, the Gospel of Mark, I'll end the Gospel at verse 8. For the ending, everything after chapter 16, verse 8 of Mark, is recognized by essentially all scholars to be a later addition, not part of the original Gospel of Mark. So we don't need to harmonize anything that wasn't part of the original Gospel. And even conservative or liberal scholars, it doesn't matter. Any biblical scholar, there's possible exceptions to this, but all biblical scholars are going to say that the Gospel, as originally written by Mark or whomever was the author, will not include anything after chapter 16, verse 8. Alright, so we'll look at the Gospels in order. That is, in the order we find them in the Bible. First Matthew, then Mark, then Luke, and finally John. And we'll see that there really aren't any necessary contradictions between Matthew and Mark, or what have you. Alright, thank you for watching, and shalom to you all. Have a happy Easter, and have a great day. Bye now.